I don't think it's a distraction because I get to communicate with my family and my children.
When family's present, it's a distraction, and when they're not, I enjoy it. It's relaxing.
It's more of a distraction to me because it keeps you away from the family, and I just don't like it.
I think it's a distraction, especially because there are more personal ways to communicate. You have phone calls, you have personal, face-to-face visits. But then I think of what are the people who can visit, the people who don't have phones. They might only have internet access, so it's maybe a last solution, or the last choice to communicate.
I think that it's both. You definitely add to communication by being on Facebook and letting people know what you're doing, or checking out to see what they're doing, but it could also be a major distraction to life, what you need to be done, what you need to prioritize, what you need to take care of in the home or at work. So it definitely is a distraction.
We live in a sin-fallen world, so absolutely social media can be a distraction for people, and it has become a distraction for many. We've all seen the people walking along texting and falling into fountains and such, or texting as they walk through parking lots, or responding on Facebook and getting hit by cars. So yes, they can be distracted. Certainly it has affected relationships negatively, sitting across a table from somebody and not really communicating with that person, not really focusing on them, but focusing on your phone instead. Or the phone vibrates to let you know you have a message from somebody, and so you break the conversation to respond right away. And so in that respect, I think it can be a distraction. In other ways, it's a way to quickly shoot messages back and forth to somebody without having to enter into a long phone conversation, or to try to arrange a face-to-face meeting.
Social media is more of a distraction than it is for helpful uses, because you just get distracted on the other things that are not important and not what you should be doing.
I feel that social media can be a distraction in my day-to-day life, but I appreciate that I can communicate with family members in different states and friends in different countries.
I think it brings the family closer together.
I like that I get to see my grandchildren's photos and enjoy that very much. And another side, I think it brings gossip and division, and I don't care for that.
Yes, it creates division, but I enjoy looking at pictures of my family.
For me, it just adds a little bit of unity, another avenue or another way of socializing and joking around. But I can see how in other families it would definitely cause division. It would definitely cause tension. You post something that somebody doesn't like, you end up in arguments.
Again, I think that it could be both. It could cause drama depending on if you maybe posted something that another family member didn't like or didn't understand. It could cause drama within the family, or it could bring unity when you're sharing pictures or sharing videos of part of your life with family that live far away.
I know for my own personal family, it has helped to create unity in the sense of my son being stationed in a foreign country, and so we've been able to stay in touch, communicate regularly, encourage him through social media. Whereas here at home, the use of social media is not really, we don't use it much.
Well, I think if social media is good if it's for extended family, because you can talk to them, whereas you can't really talk to them in person. So, but for your immediate family, I don't think it's that great, because you guys are in the same area, but you guys are in your own room doing your own thing, whereas you can just come together and talk to each other, and it just it brings you guys apart instead of together.
I would say that social media has created division in my life by distracting me from my family.
I think 30 minutes to an hour is enough time on social media.
I think 2 hours is fine for me, and depending on others, it could be 3 or 4. At times I do get carried away.
The less time you spend on Facebook, the more quality time you can spend with your family.
We waste a lot of time on social media, so I say we should keep it down to 20-30 minutes tops a day.
I would say about as much time to write a quick comment, upload a picture, not maybe like 10 minutes.
So for me, a couple of checks a couple of times a day for 5 minutes is about the extent of my use of it. And so as far as a healthy dose, I guess my own personal use is what I would consider a healthy dose. I don't think anything more than that is required. I don't think we need to constantly be connected all the time and see what's happening in everybody's life all day long. So I think it can be, I think computers in general should be limited in their use, especially with children.
I think that social media, you should stay on it for maybe like an hour and a half, because if you go on for maybe 3 to 2 hours, you're becoming kind of antisocial.
I think time on social media should be something that's agreed upon by the family.
I think back in the day was a lot better.
I think it's a lot better today. It's faster to communicate, and we can communicate every day.
My days were better than my grandchildren's days.
I wish I can go back in time and see what families did 20 years ago. Did they sit down together and without any electronics and just no social media, no watching videos of strangers, but making home videos of themselves, spending time together, you know, having dinner together without any interruptions, maybe a phone call. I just think social media has really distracted the family and has caused more harm than good.
So I think that families were better off back than before social media. I think that it gave us a good time to socialize and to communicate and to have personal time with each other. I feel like social media takes away from that. It makes us lazy with our communication and just sending a text and thinking that's all it takes to say happy birthday instead of calling them on the phone. So definitely I think before, without social media, families were better off.
I was a teenager in the 80s, and so for me, I watched the advent of computers and the distraction of video games, and over time the advent of social media, Facebook, Twitter, and so I don't see any real benefits to families. I can't say that we're any better off than we were. Certainly relationships seemed deeper 20 years ago. Families would talk around the dinner table. In fact, now that I think about it, our family still meets for dinner regularly every night, and we have dinner together. And so in my daughter's social circles, people think that's really weird. So families are certainly more splintered than they used to be. I don't know if I can directly attribute that to social media, but people are certainly more distracted and more busy, and the relationships are thinner. And so in that respect, I can't really say if it's all connected, but it certainly seems to have not benefited the families any in the last 20 years.
I think it was good 20 years ago when your family was close together and you weren't like apart from each other and you guys knew what was going on in each other's lives. Whereas now you just ignore each other because you're so involved in what you're doing. But it's also a good thing because back then you couldn't really talk to your other family that lived far away. So now we have Skype and all this other stuff that it's easier to contact them and to be more connected with them.
I think the family unit was a lot closer 20 years ago, but the ability to correspond is a lot greater today.